Every year, millions of people set ambitious goals for themselves. They want to wake up early, hit the gym, eat healthier, master a new skill, or build a business. Yet within weeks, sometimes even days, their motivation fades. Excuses pile up, and they tell themselves, "I'll start again tomorrow, or maybe next week." The cycle repeats endlessly. The Stoics, however, had no patience for such weakness. To them, consistency was not just a habit. It was a way of life. It was the dividing line between those who controlled their destiny and those who let life control them. The Stoics understood a fundamental truth. Discipline is stronger than motivation. Motivation comes and goes like the wind, but discipline is the foundation that remains firm, regardless of how you feel. The real question is, can you force yourself to be consistent? Can you train your mind to show up every single day, no matter what? That is what this guide is about. By the end of this journey, you will have no more excuses. You will adopt the Stoic mindset of relentless consistency and become the person who shows up, who executes, and who builds an unshakable foundation. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Destroying the need for motivation. Motivation is a liar. It makes you feel powerful in the moment, but abandons you when you need it most. It whispers sweet promises, saying, "You'll feel ready tomorrow," but tomorrow never comes. It convinces you that you need inspiration to act, that you need a perfect moment, but perfect moments do not exist. The Stoics did not rely on fleeting emotions. They relied on principles and unwavering self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoics, wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for?" He recognized that the mind is prone to weakness and hesitation, but purpose must always override temporary feelings. The mind will always search for excuses to delay action, whispering reasons to stay comfortable. But true growth happens only when we learn to silence those excuses and move forward regardless of how we feel. This is the mindset shift you must make. You don't wait to feel ready. You don't negotiate with laziness. You act because action is your duty. You don't brush your teeth when you feel like it. You do it because it must be done. Approach every habit with the same mentality. If you wake up feeling unmotivated, push through. If you feel drained, take a deep breath and execute anyway. Your actions should not depend on emotions. They should be dictated by principle. The Stoics believed in this with unshakable certainty, recognizing that the greatest threat to discipline is allowing feelings to govern action. The key is to eliminate the need for choice. When you make discipline automatic, you remove the possibility of failure. You don't ask yourself, should I work today, or should I train today? You simply follow through. This is the power of non-negotiable actions. When you operate this way, you free up mental energy that would otherwise be wasted in deliberation. Decisions drain willpower, and if you constantly debate whether or not to follow through, you create unnecessary friction that leads to inconsistency. Instead, train yourself to eliminate choice. Certain actions must happen daily. No questions asked. Do this long enough, and you will condition yourself to act instinctively, without hesitation. The modern world presents countless distractions and excuses. The easy way out is always available, tempting you to compromise. However, the strongest individuals recognize that giving in to the slightest weakness today will lead to an avalanche of broken discipline tomorrow. This is why the Stoics refused to entertain the idea of skipping obligation. Their philosophy was simple: do what is right, regardless of how you feel. They understood that real power comes from mastery over the self, and consistency is the highest form of mastery. When you operate from discipline rather than motivation, you take control of your life. You create momentum, and with momentum, you become unstoppable. The more you show up, the more natural it becomes. Every action you take strengthens the identity of a disciplined person. Train your mind to view every action as part of your identity. Let every action reinforce the fact that you are disciplined, and soon your entire being will align with consistency. The Stoic knows that consistency is not about feeling, it is about doing. Regardless of how you feel. The weak depend on fleeting motivation, But the strong move forward with unwavering discipline. They find strength, not in external inspiration, but in the quiet, resolute voice within that demands excellence, day after day, without exception. Remember, discomfort is temporary, but regret lasts far longer. Every time you push through the resistance, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. It's not about perfection, but about relentless progress. Small, consistent actions compound into unstoppable momentum, and over time, your dedication will become second nature. The mind will try to pull you back into complacency, but remind yourself, discipline is the path to true freedom, and only those who master it truly command their destiny. The choice is always in front of you. Embrace the challenge or surrender to ease. The Stoics knew the answer. Now so do you. Every morning, tell yourself, I don't need to feel ready. I need to act. Repeat it with conviction, knowing that action precedes inspiration. The moment you hesitate, remind yourself that greatness is built on daily, consistent effort, not on fleeting moments of motivation. Imagine a warrior preparing for battle. They do not wait for the perfect conditions. They step forward regardless of their emotion. Train yourself to think the same way, reinforcing the idea that every action strengthens your willpower. The more you push through doubt, the easier it becomes to move forward without hesitation. Create a non-negotiable list, things you will do daily, no matter what. These should include essential tasks that align with your long-term goals and values. Structure them in a way that removes the need for decision-making each day. For example, if fitness is important, schedule your workouts at the same time every day. If reading is a priority, set a minimum number of pages you will read before bed. Your list should not be overwhelming, but it should push you towards consistency. Keep it realistic, but firm. Your non-negotiables should become as routine as brushing your teeth. The more you integrate these habits into your identity, the easier it becomes to uphold them over time. This commitment strengthens your self-discipline, making consistency an inseparable part of who you are. When you feel resistance, remind yourself, discipline over comfort. Resistance is not a signal to stop. It is a sign that you are on the right path. The greatest achievements come from those who push past difficulty, not those who surrender to it. Each moment of hesitation is an opportunity to build resilience. The mind may crave ease, but true growth comes from struggle. When you feel the pull of comfort, take a deep breath and step forward, knowing that every challenge overcome is a testament to your strength. Consistency is built one decision at a time. Choose discipline every single time. Chapter 2: Building an Identity, not a habit. People fail at consistency because they focus on actions, not identity. They say, I will try to wake up early, or I will try to exercise. Trying is weak. Trying gives you an escape. The Stoics did not try. They internalized discipline as an inseparable part of who they were, not something they attempted when convenient. They understood that discipline is not a switch you flip when necessary. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is the foundation of true, unwavering consistency. Your actions must align with your identity. You must think and act as though the disciplined version of yourself already exists. Instead of treating discipline like an external burden, you must embrace it as a natural extension of your character. It should not feel like an obligation, but rather a defining principle of your life. The Stoics understood that true discipline comes not from temporary motivation, but from the unwavering belief that consistency is the backbone of progress and strength. If you want to be consistent, stop thinking of yourself as someone who struggles with discipline. See yourself as someone who is consistent. When an athlete trains, they don't ask, should I work out today? No, they train because they are an athlete. The disciplined person does not contemplate whether they should act. They simply do, because it is part of their very being. If you want to be disciplined, don't ask, should I do this today? No, you do it because that is who you are. The stronger your identity is tied to your habits, the more naturally you will act in alignment with your value. You must integrate discipline into your self-image, just as the Stoics did. knowing that every action is a step toward mastery over the self. Your identity is not just something you inherit. It is something you shape through repeated action. If you repeatedly follow through on your commitments, discipline becomes second nature. However, if you repeatedly break your promises to yourself, inconsistency becomes your default. Every action you take is a vote for the person you are becoming. Each time you choose to uphold a disciplined act, you reinforce the idea that you are someone who values reliability and persistence. This is not just about achieving goals. It is about redefining yourself as someone who refuses to be inconsistent. To reinforce this identity, practice visualizing the person you aspire to be. Each day, remind yourself that your actions must align with that ideal version of yourself. Every decision, no matter how small, builds your character. Are you someone who hits the snooze button? Or are you someone who wakes up with determination? Are you someone who procrastinates? Or do you tackle challenges head-on? The Stoic understands that actions define the individual. By making consistency non-negotiable, you leave no room for hesitation. Consistency is not about perfection. It is about persistence. The key is to embrace progress over stagnation. Some days you may not be acting, but the discipline stands that showing up even at 50% is still better than not showing up at all. There will be days when obstacles stand in your way, when motivation is absent, when excuses seem appealing, but in those moments, true discipline shines. Instead of succumbing to weakness, remind yourself that every time you push forward despite resistance, you are strengthening the person you are meant to be. Build the habit of pushing forward even in the face of difficulty, knowing that each small act of discipline compounds over time into something powerful and unshakable. With every obstacle you overcome, you fortify your will. Every instance of persistence adds another layer of strength to your mind. The mind seeks comfort, but the Stoic understands that comfort is the enemy of greatness. Challenge yourself to lean into discomfort, to push limitations, and to see every struggle as an solidify. True progress comes from embracing hardship rather than avoiding it. The greatest warriors, thinkers, and leaders not achieve greatness by seeking ease, but by mastering resilience. The more you embrace this mindset, the more unstoppable you become. Understand that every difficult moment, every ounce of resistance is a test, an opportunity to either strengthen or weaken your will. Growth happens when you push your perceived limits, despite fatigue, boredom, or frustration. Every time you do so, you add another layer to your foundation, make it harder for future challenges. So make sure every habit, decision reinforces the identity is consistent and not just a practice. It is who you are. This is a lifelong commitment, not a short-term challenge. To solidify this transformation, set reminders throughout your day to reaffirm your identity as a disciplined individual. Start your mornings with a declaration of your commitment to consistency. Write down a mantra and repeat it when you feel resistance creeping in. Visualize the disciplined version of yourself, standing firm in the face of challenges, executing tasks without hesitation. Surround yourself with people and influences that reinforce your commitment to consistency. Distance yourself from distractions and those who encourage complacency. Seek out an environment that nurtures resilience, whether it be through reading philosophy, surrounding yourself with high achievers, or constantly setting higher standards for yourself. Remember that discipline is contagious. If you keep company with the undisciplined, their habits will seep into yours. If you surround yourself with those who value discipline, your own resolve will strengthen tenfold. To reinforce this mindset, create rituals that anchor you in discipline. Begin and end your day with actions that solidify your commitment, whether it's journaling your daily wins, reciting a Stoic quote, or planning your next day with precision. These small actions compound into an unshakable mindset. Every habit you ingrain into your daily life adds another brick to the fortress of discipline you are building. Discipline is not only about pushing through resistance, it's about making the process automatic, where execution becomes second nature rather than a struggle. The more consistently you practice, the less effort it will take to stay disciplined. Over time, it will feel as natural as breathing. The journey of discipline is lifelong, but every step forward is a declaration of your mastery over self-doubt. Every setback is a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to grow stronger. True discipline is forged through adversity, and every time you overcome resistance, you elevate your character. Recognize that challenges are not interruptions, they are part of the process, training you for the next stage of growth. The Stoics lived by these principles, and so can you. Every act of discipline is a triumph, and with enough repetition, it will become second nature, guiding you to the highest version of yourself. When faced with resistance, see it as an opportunity to harden your resolve, not as an excuse to retreat. Repetition is the mother of mastery, and every moment you push forward, you reaffirm your control over your destiny. Keep pushing forward, for your consistency is the foundation upon which greatness is built. This is not just about achieving a goal, it is about creating a disciplined life where every action reflects your commitment to being unbreakable in both body and mind. Over time, your resilience will be undeniable, and your path will be clear, unyielding, strong, and unwavering. The disciplined individual is not one who is never tempted, but one who never allows temptation to derail them. Discipline is the true path to freedom, and as you deepen your commitment, you will see that true power lies in unwavering consistency. Your habits define you, and when your habits are aligned with discipline, you become unstoppable. Instead of saying, "I will try to be more consistent," say, "I am a person who shows up." Write down, who do I need to become to be consistent, then act accordingly. When in doubt, ask, would a disciplined person make an excuse right now? Chapter 3. Embracing the suffering. Consistency requires suffering, not the kind that breaks you, but the kind that forges you into something greater than you were before. The Stoics embraced hardship because they understood that comfort is a slow poison, dulling the spirit and weakening resolve. To grow stronger, one must be willing to endure discomfort, challenge, and resistance. Seneca put it best: difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. The fire of adversity does not destroy the strong, it refines them. Most people quit because they associate discomfort with failure, but discomfort is proof that you are growing. Every time you feel resistance, you are facing an opportunity to quit or to endure. The Stoic always chooses endurance. They recognize that pushing through pain, whether physical or mental, is what separates the ordinary from the exceptional. The disciplined individual does not shy away from hardship. They lean into it, knowing that strength is built through consistent effort. To them, suffering is not an obstacle, but a path to refinement. This process of enduring suffering and overcoming obstacles transforms the mind and body into something resilient. The greatest athletes, scholars, and warriors throughout history did not achieve greatness by avoiding struggle. They ran toward it, knowing that through the repeated trials of discipline, they would emerge sharper, tougher, and wiser. You too must embrace this philosophy. See pain not as an enemy, but as a teacher. When discomfort arises, understand that it is sculpting you into the person you aspire to become. Every ache, every difficulty, every challenge faced is another layer of resilience being built. Growth is never painless. It demands hardship, sacrifice, and effort. Just as fire refines metal, hardship refines the human spirit. Each moment of struggle is an opportunity to carve out a stronger, more disciplined version of yourself. When you encounter resistance, whether in the form of exhaustion, setbacks, or doubt, remember that the decision to endure is a victory in itself. Each moment of suffering is an investment in your own development. The more you condition yourself to withstand hardship, the easier it becomes to face greater challenges. What once seemed insurmountable will become a mere stepping stone on your journey. Embrace pain as a tool for transformation. It is not something to be avoided, but something to be mastered. The mind, much like the body, grows stronger when tested under pressure. The Stoic does not complain about difficulty. They welcome it as an opportunity to prove their strength. Every obstacle you face is fuel for your development, and with each hardship overcome, you become more resilient, more disciplined, and more equipped to handle life's trials. To be truly unbreakable, You must embrace the discomfort of growth rather than shy away from it. Endurance is not just about surviving hardship, but about thriving in its midst. It is about forging an unshakable mindset that allows you to rise above temporary pain in pursuit of a greater goal. When faced with exhaustion, remind yourself that strength is built in moments of weakness. When doubt creeps in, recognize that belief is solidified in the fires of uncertainty. The more you endure, the more your mind learns that difficulty is not a barrier, but a doorway to growth. There is no triumph without struggle, no wisdom without suffering, and no transformation without perseverance. What you cultivate in moments of pain will serve you in moments of prosperity. Hardship is the great teacher that refines you, stripping away hesitation and fear, leaving behind only the core of your strength. Embrace the discomfort. Instead of resisting hardship, seek to understand it, to mold it into a catalyst for transformation. When others give up, let that be the moment you push harder, knowing that every struggle is a sharpening of your mental blade. With each test of endurance, your self-discipline strengthens, making you impervious to distractions and setbacks. Train yourself to crave difficulty, for the obstacles you face today are the milestones of tomorrow's victories. The path to mastery is paved with struggle. The question is not whether you will face difficulty, but whether you will rise above. The Stoics knew this truth well. Suffering is not to be feared. It is to be embraced as the fire that tempers steel. Just as a blacksmith repeatedly hammers and heats metal to shape it into something strong and unbreakable, your trials shape you into the person you are meant to become. Each moment of hardship is another hammer blow, another degree of heat that strengthens your will and fortifies your resilience. The flames of adversity do not consume the strong, they refine them. Understand that the greater the struggle, the greater the growth. No champion, no leader, no great mind was ever built without enduring hardship. Keep pushing forward, keep strengthening your resolve. When the world tells you to stop, let your actions scream louder than their doubts. In the end, you will not just endure, you will thrive. Every moment of pain you overcome brings you closer to an indomitable will. Through suffering you gain control over your destiny. Through endurance, you achieve greatness. And in that greatness, you find true freedom, the ability to remain unshaken in the face of adversity, to persist where others falter, and to forge yourself into the strongest version of who you were meant to be. With each hardship conquered, you build an internal fortress, one that no external force can tear down. This is the path of the unyielding, the disciplined, the truly free. The choice is always yours. Surrender or rise. The Stoic never surrenders. Reframe discomfort as growth. Every struggle is making you stronger. Each challenge you face is a lesson, a test of endurance, and a step toward greater resilience. When you embrace discomfort as a necessary component of growth, you shift your perspective from one of avoidance to one of acceptance. Discomfort ceases to be something you fear, and instead becomes something you welcome, knowing that on the other side of every struggle lies progress. Just as a muscle grows stronger after being pushed to its limit, so too does your mind and character. With each hardship you endure, you develop a deeper level of self-discipline, a sharper mental edge, and an unshakable foundation. Learn to recognize the discomfort as evidence that you are on the right path, and instead of resisting it, lean into it with confidence. Set a challenge. Go a full month without skipping your key habit. Treat this as a sacred commitment, something that cannot be compromised. Keep a journal tracking each day's completion to reinforce accountability. If at any point you feel tempted to break the streak, remind yourself why you started. Reflect on the long-term benefits of consistency and the negative effects of inconsistency. Consider adding an extra layer of challenge, perhaps increasing the intensity of the habit each week, or incorporating a reward system that only activates upon successful completion. Challenge your mind to push past its limits, training yourself to thrive under pressure rather than retreat. At the end of the month, assess how much progress you have made and recognize how powerful consistency truly is. If you can commit for 1 month, imagine what you could accomplish in a year. When tempted to quit, tell yourself, this is where most people stop. I am not most people. Most will falter, making excuses to justify their failure. But you will push forward, knowing that true growth only happens when you break past resistance. Every challenge is an opportunity to prove that you are different, that you are willing to do what others won't. Remind yourself that success is built in these very moments, when the weak give up and the strong push through. Commit to the mindset that failure is not an option, and that every time you refuse to quit, you separate yourself from the ordinary. Your ability to persevere in the face of difficulty defines your character. Keep going because you are not most people. You are someone who endures, someone who succeeds. Chapter 4. Eliminating decision fatigue. The more choices you give yourself, the more likely you are to fail. Consistency dies on the battlefield of indecision. The Stoics understood the importance of simplicity. The fewer decisions you need to make, the more disciplined you become. Indecision is the enemy of action, and action is the foundation of discipline. When you hesitate, you introduce doubt. When you introduce doubt, you weaken your resolve. A disciplined life is built on decisiveness and clarity. Every unnecessary choice adds mental friction, saps energy, and opens the door to procrastination. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple, direct, non-negotiable. The Stoic path demands a commitment to unwavering clarity. There is no room for wavering in what is right. Once you define your values, your course of action becomes clear. The fewer decisions you have to deliberate over, the more mental energy you reserve for execution. The most successful people reduce decision-making by structuring their routines, knowing that mental energy wasted on trivial choices is energy stolen from meaningful pursuits. Every moment spent in hesitation is a moment lost. The disciplined mind does not waste energy on choices that should already be resolved. Apply this to your daily life. If you constantly debate whether you should do something, you will eventually talk yourself out of it. Instead, eliminate the option to quit. Do not let hesitation create an opening for weakness. If something is important, it is not up for debate. It is a duty. Set clear, firm guidelines for yourself and follow them without question. Treat discipline like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. The less you allow yourself to negotiate, the more automatic your consistency will be. The Stoic approach is to create rules for yourself that remove the need for constant deliberation. If you want to be great, stop entertaining weakness. Choose decisiveness over doubt and execution over contemplation. Build systems that simplify discipline. Wake up at the same time every day. Follow a structured plan. Remove temptations that might lead to distraction. Automate as much of your routine as possible, so that effort is spent executing, not debating. A life built on structure minimizes hesitation and maximizes momentum. When your course is set in stone, you no longer struggle with decisions. You simply act. The best performers in any field do not wake up wondering if they will work hard that day. They have already decided. They operate from discipline, not from impulse. Mastering decisiveness means removing unnecessary choices from your life. Wear the same type of clothes daily if it saves you mental energy. Plan your meals in advance, so you are not tempted by unhealthy options. Set a designated time for exercise, so there is never a question of whether you will do. The more structure you put in place, the fewer opportunities you allow for failure. Simplify every aspect of your day to align with your long-term vision. If something can be automated, automate it. If a distraction can be eliminated, remove it permanently. The key to unwavering consistency is reducing friction between thought and action. The more obstacles you remove, the easier it becomes to follow through. Every moment you spend deciding whether or not to do something is a moment wasted. Discipline thrives in certainty. If you establish firm rules, your habits become effortless. There should be no internal debate about what must be done. You must condition yourself to act without hesitation. Think of a soldier preparing for battle. They do not ask themselves whether they will fight today. They do not deliberate on whether they should wear their armor. They do not hesitate when given an order. Their training has eliminated the need for choice. They execute because execution is their way of life. You must adopt the same mindset toward your goal. Your habits should be non-negotiable, your structure absolute, your discipline ingrained so deeply that hesitation no longer exists. Make your path simple, direct, and unwavering, and you will find that consistency is no longer an obstacle, but a natural state of being. It will not be a struggle, it will be who you are. The Stoic does not waver, the disciplined do not hesitate. You must become the person who follows through every single time, no exceptions, no compromises. Automate discipline. Wake up at the same time every day, without exception. Set multiple reminders throughout the day to keep yourself accountable. Remove distractions ruthlessly. Turn off notifications. Create a focused workspace and establish clear boundaries with your time. Establish fixed habits that require no debate or decision making. Make your environment work for you by eliminating anything that tempts inconsistency. The more structure you build, the easier it becomes to maintain discipline effortlessly. No negotiations. If you say you will do something, you do it, period. There is no debate, no second guessing, no looking for an easier path. Commitment must be absolute. If you allow yourself even a sliver of doubt, you create an opening for inconsistency. Train yourself to follow through no matter how you feel. When you commit, you execute, without hesitation, without excuse. This is how discipline becomes unbreakable. Create a rule. If you think about skipping, you must do it twice as hard. The moment hesitation enters your mind, treat it as a signal to push beyond your limit. When your mind seeks comfort, respond with intensity. This rule eliminates any room for negotiation. It turns doubt into fuel, making every moment of reluctance an opportunity for greater effort. By training yourself to associate hesitation with doubling down, you create an unbreakable cycle of discipline. The more you do this, the more resistance becomes powerless against your will. Over time, hesitation will no longer feel like a signal to stop, but a cue to accelerate. Chapter 5. Winning the mental warfare. Your mind is your greatest enemy and your greatest weapon. It will try to deceive you. It will tell you to rest when you need to push. It will tell you to wait when you need to act. It will attempt to persuade you that you have time, that you can start later, that today's effort doesn't matter. But every time you listen to these whispers of hesitation, you feed weakness and starve discipline. The Stoic wins because they master their mind. They recognize to sabotage progress and refuse to give in. They understand that true power lies not in yielding to fleeting emotions, but in commanding them to serve a higher purpose. Your mind is a battlefield, and every thought is a soldier, either fighting for or against your growth. If you do not take control, the undisciplined parts of your psyche will. It will fabricate excuses, create delays, and sow doubt, all in an attempt to keep you in a state of comfort. But comfort is a slow death. It weakens resolve, stifles ambition, and erodes greatness. The Stoics understood this well and trained themselves to be the masters of their own thoughts, directing them towards purpose rather than passivity. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. Freedom is discipline. Freedom is control. It is the ability to act in alignment with your principles, regardless of how you feel in the moment. The person who is swayed by fleeting emotions is not truly free. They are bound by impulse, shackled by their whims. To be free, you must master yourself. To master yourself, you must master your mind. When you are ruled by emotions, you are a slave to inconsistency. Your potential is squandered when your decisions are dictated by momentary desires, rather than by reasoned purpose. The undisciplined mind is easily swayed by fleeting emotions, constantly seeking comfort at the cost of progress. But when you take control of your mind, you become unbreakable. You develop an inner fortress that no external event can penetrate. You become someone who does not succumb to doubt or hesitation, but moves forward with unwavering conviction. Your mind will test you, whispering excuses and urging you toward comfort. but you must be stronger than its trick. The moment you reclaim authority over your thoughts, you step into true power, and with that power, you command not just yourself, but your destiny. Mastery of the mind is the foundation of all success. The disciplined individual understands that thoughts are not always reality, and that emotions are fleeting impulses rather than directives. They recognize that hesitation is an illusion, a mental roadblock designed to keep you stagnant. When fear, doubt, or complacency arise, acknowledge them but do not act on them. Instead, train your mind to recognize hesitation as an invitation to push forward. When you learn to override emotional impulses and operate from principle, you gain an unshakable edge over those who surrender to momentary discomfort. Your emotions are tools, not masters. They are signals, not ordered. The more you practice detachment from the pull of transient feelings, the more you fortify yourself against distraction and weakness. This is how true self-command is built, not in grand moments of courage, but in the small repeated acts of discipline every single day. The road to mental mastery is long, but every effort brings you closer to unwavering strength. When faced with resistance, do not retreat. Harden your resolve. Each test is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are in control, that you are the master of your fate. You must recognize that every hardship, every challenge, is an invitation to grow stronger. Strength is not built in moments of comfort, but in moments where you feel the urge to quit and refuse to do so. You must train yourself to see adversity as a forge, where your mind is shaped and tempered into an unbreakable weapon. The battle for consistency is won in the moments where others would falter. The more you practice discipline over impulse, the more automatic it becomes, and soon acting in alignment with your highest values will be second nature. Every small act of discipline compounds into something greater, and before long, hesitation disappears entirely. A disciplined person does not waste energy debating whether to take action. They simply execute. By eliminating the need for internal negotiation, you make consistency inevitable. Over time, self-discipline ceases to be a struggle. It becomes a state of being. It ceases to feel like an effort, because it becomes a part of who you are. The strongest individuals do not wake up wondering if they will train, work, or push forward. They already know the answer. Their discipline is ingrained so deeply that action becomes instinctual. This is the level you must aspire to. When mastery of self becomes your default, nothing, no obstacle, no setback, no fleeting emotion can shake your foundation. You will walk through adversity with the unshaken confidence of one who knows they are unstoppable, because they have trained their mind to be so. You will become the embodiment of resilience, proving that true strength is not about avoiding hardship, but about conquering it day after day, without fail. When your mind tells you to quit, respond with, "I am stronger than." Remind yourself that every moment of resistance is an opportunity to build resilience. When discomfort arises, lean into it rather than retreat. Recognize that your mind's attempt to convince you to stop is merely a test, one that you must pass to grow stronger. Do not entertain weakness. Instead, use it as fuel. Say to yourself, "This is where I grow. This is where I prove myself." Speak it, believe it, and then act on it. Push forward with relentless determination, knowing that each battle against hesitation is a victory for your discipline and willpower. Over time, you will no longer need to remind yourself. You will simply act, because perseverance will have become your default state of being. Practice voluntary hardship. Do something uncomfortable every day. Seek out small challenges that push you beyond your comfort zone. Wake up earlier than usual. Take a cold shower. Exercise when you don't feel like it, or go without certain comforts for a day. By consistently placing yourself in controlled discomfort, you build resilience and train your mind to adapt to challenges. Over time, you will no longer fear discomfort, but embrace it as a necessary part of growth. Let hardship become your training ground, shaping you into someone who thrives under pressure rather than crumbles. The more you expose yourself to difficulty, the less intimidating life's obstacles will appear. Develop a mental fortress. When you feel weak, remind yourself, the Stoics would not break, neither will I. Strength is not just about physical endurance, it is about mental resilience. Your mind must become a fortress, impenetrable to doubt, fear, and weakness. Train yourself to block out excuses and external distraction. When discomfort arises, acknowledge it but do not succumb to it. Instead, lean into the challenge, knowing that the discomfort you endure today strengthens the foundation of your Each hardship you overcome is another brick in your mental fortress, making it more impenetrable to self-doubt. Tell yourself, if the Stoics could endure immense suffering with unwavering resolve, I can push through this moment. Speak these words with conviction, repeat them when fatigue sets in, and let them become your inner armor. Over time, your mind will learn that retreat is not an option, and persistence will become second nature. Chapter 6. Turning discipline into an art. Consistency is not just about forcing yourself to act. It is about transforming discipline into a way of life. When practiced long enough, discipline ceases to be something external that you impose upon yourself. It becomes second nature. It is no longer a struggle. It is an art, one that shapes every aspect of your existence. The true masters of discipline do not view their habits as obligations, but as an inseparable part of who they are. To them, discipline is not a temporary act of willpower. It is a state of being that governs every decision, every movement, every thought. The Stoics saw discipline as the highest form of self-respect. To them, discipline was not a burden, but a gift, the key to true freedom. Without it, you are a slave to every impulse, distraction, and excuse that enters your mind. With it, you command yourself completely. You gain absolute control over your thoughts and actions, no longer swayed by fleeting emotions or momentary discomfort. The more deeply you internalize discipline, the more effortless it becomes. It ceases to feel restrictive and instead becomes the ultimate expression of self-mastery. When you embrace this philosophy, every act of discipline reaffirms your identity as someone who is unshakable, resilient, and completely in control. It is no longer about forcing yourself to be disciplined, it is about becoming discipline itself. When discipline becomes your essence, hesitation vanishes. You no longer battle with motivation or procrastination, because action is instinctual. You do not wait for the right conditions, you create them. You do not react to challenges, you anticipate them. The Stoics understood that discipline was not just about habits. It was about identity. A disciplined person does not need to convince themselves to act. They simply do. They take ownership of their time, their emotions, and their energy. They live with purpose, knowing that self-command is the highest power a person can possess. True discipline is when self-control is so ingrained that it becomes second nature. Every decision you make reinforces either strength or weakness. Every choice more than you ever thought possible. Repetition is your greatest teacher. The more you repeat an action, the more effortless it becomes. Discipline is strengthened by daily practice, much like a muscle. Just as it continues